talk about what we're going to do with all of this information this week. We are writing a compare and contrast essay on one of the topics that we learned about this week. We're actually just going to focus on 3 of the 4. Railroads kind of play into this, but they're not going to be totally on their own. So let me explain. Today and tomorrow, what you're going to do is work on a compare and contrast essay on comparing and contrasting either mining camps versus mining towns or mining towns versus supply towns. Now, if you talk about supply towns, you're probably going to talk a little bit about railroads as well. So this is why I say you might be using some information from railroads, but I don't think it would be appropriate for you to compare and contrast mining camps versus railroads. I mean, there's nothing similar about those two, okay? So again, your topics for this writing assignment will be to either write about mining camps versus mining towns or mining towns versus mining supply towns, okay? Here is what we're going to do. First of all of these amazing notes that you took over the course of the last 2 days, you need to keep. Those are going to be very, very handy for what you're going to be doing. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do not wait until tomorrow to get all this done. What I do recommend that you do today is sit down and start planning for your writing. And I'm going to show you what to do with that. What I have for you uploaded into this folder is a Venn diagram that looks exactly like this. If you can't print it, not a problem. You're going to recreate this on a piece of paper. You're going to make sure that your circles are big enough so that you can write inside of them. Venn diagram is a great diagram for us to compare and contrast. Remember, compare is how they are alike. Contrast means how they are different. So what you're going to do first, probably today, is you're going to choose your 2 topics. Let's say you decide to do camps versus towns, mining towns. One side is going to be on mining camps, and you're going to list here in this side of the bubble all the things that are specific to mining camps. Then on this side, on this circle, you're going to do mining towns. And you're going to list all of the things that are just specific to mining towns. And then, of course, in the center is what those 2 share in common, what they have in common. And so this is why these notes are important. The other thing that's important is having that text in front of you. I said this on Tuesday. I don't expect you to have all of this memorized, but what I do expect you to do is to use your resources. This is one set of resources, and that text is another set of resources. Pull it up. Go back to pages 201 to 205. You might have to go back and look for more information or more facts about one of the 2 topics that you're writing about today. So your first step today is to print this out or to recreate this on a piece of paper and then fill it out. If you do mining towns versus supply towns, again, what are things that are just specific to mining towns? What are things that are just specific to supply towns? And then what do they share? What do they have in common? Okay, that's going to help you as you write. Again, don't leave all of this for tomorrow. This is a large project. And so I highly recommend that you do this first step today. Once that's done, tomorrow you will come back and you will start writing. Let me quickly go over what we're expecting of you, and then I'll share the resources that I have available for you. Here are our expectations for your essay that are due at the end of Friday. Number 1, it's going to be typed in Google Docs and shared with us at the end of Friday. Okay, so you are typing and sharing it with us. You don't have to handwrite everything. You could get straight onto Google Docs and you can just start typing. If you're limited on access, if you have to share a computer with a sibling or your parents, that's okay. Then you'll go ahead and write your rough draft on a piece of paper, and then tomorrow or later in the afternoon, you can get on and type what you've written. You decide what works for you, but we do want it typed and we want it shared with your teacher in Google Docs. Number 4, this is an essay. So it's more than one paragraph. In fact, you're going to write 4 mini paragraphs, and that's going to be your essay that you turn into us. Paragraph number 1 is going to be a very, very short introduction. I'm going to explain all of these in just a minute. Paragraph number 2 is where you're going to compare those two living places. So you're going to tell us how they're alike. If you were doing mining camps and mining towns, in that second paragraph, you're going to tell us how they're similar, what they have in common. Paragraph 3 is where you contrast those two topics. How are they different? And then paragraph 4 is going to be a very short conclusion. You're going to wrap it up for us. Okay. When we look at paragraph number 2 and paragraph number 3, here's what we want to have in each of those paragraphs. You must have 3 details in each of those paragraphs. What I mean is, when you get to that comparing paragraph, paragraph number 2, and you start telling us how these two topics are alike, we want 3 ways that they are alike. You're going to do the exact same thing in paragraph number 3 when you talk about the contrasting, how they're different. We want you to find 3 ways that they are different. If you want to go for more, great, but you cannot go for less. 3 is your magic number. Then, we want you to include 1 sentence that explains one of those details further. So if you were in the second paragraph comparing these two topics, you would give us 3 ways that they are alike, and then you would give us 1 additional sentence that explains one of those ways further, even with more information. So it's really important that you have your notes or you go back to the text, because you might be able to pull some information there. Be careful, no plagiarizing. We're not going to write entire sentences from the book. They're in your own words. All right. And by the way, all of these are going to be listed in the directions for today. So I have my notes because I need to remember them all, but they will be listed for you so that you can also read them. You don't have to memorize them or write them down now. The other thing that we're going to be looking at is, of course, few errors in spelling and capitalization and punctuation and all that good stuff too. So here's what I am providing for you guys. Number 1, you've got your template. That's available for you to use today. And then for you to use when you're ready to start writing is this. I have given you a template, something to help you as you write. So what you can do is use this if you want to sort of help guide you on how to organize your writing. So if you look closely at mine, all of the yellow will be highlighted for you, and that is the stuff that you're not going to want to type. Do not type that. That is more kind of giving you direction. For example, this first line is where your title is going to be. Come up with a clever title. Mining towns versus mining camps. I don't know, that's probably not very clever, but you can come up with something better. It's not a story, it's an essay, it's a nonfiction piece of writing, so nothing crazy, but come up with a title. All right, paragraph number 1, your introduction paragraph. We want you to indent. That means hit the tab button, move over, all right? From there, you're just going to write blank and blank are alike and different in many ways. Maybe it's mining camps and mining towns are alike and different in many ways. Or mining towns and supply towns are alike and different in many ways. Boom, introduction, done. Paragraph number 2, this is what makes it a multi-paragraph essay, is because each paragraph has been indented or moved in. So paragraph number 2 is also being indented. This is where you're going to, how they are alike. So your 2 topics are going to go here. Blank are like blank in a couple different ways. For example, each has, there's your first detail. Also, they are alike because they, there's your second detail. For example, this is where I chose to explain more. And then they also both have blank. So Remember how I said for each of these middle paragraphs, you need to have 3 details and then one sentence that explains one of those details with even more? This is what this is. Now remember, this is just a template, you guys. So if you wanted to explain maybe detail 1 more, then you would just add a sentence after that and explain that detail more. If you would rather explain detail 3 more, well then your next sentence would be your explanation sentence here. So this is just a guide for you guys, all right? It is not what you have to do. If you have your own ideas, you're like, I'm ready to go, I got this, great, go for it. But if you need a little bit of help, this is probably your best resource. And then I've also done paragraph number 3 the exact same way. This is where you're going to tell us how they are different from each other. Don't forget to indent. There's your 3 details, and then that one sentence that's going to explain one of those details deeper. Again, you can move it around. It doesn't have to explain detail 1 further. You could explain detail 2 or detail 3. And then paragraph number 4 down there at the bottom is your conclusion. You're pretty much just gonna wrap it up. I said, as you can see, blank and blank have many things in common and are very different at the same time. Again, this is just an example, an idea. If you have a different way to word this, go for it. Just remember that we're looking for you to compare and contrast mining camps, mining towns, or supply towns. You need to choose the 2 that you're going to do. All right, so this is attached today as well, so you can pull it up, you can print it, you can have it up as you're typing, whatever works for you. The other page that's included in this is the rubric. So that page that I was going over that was giving you all the requirements for this project, that's right here. This is all the criteria for our project the next 2 days. That's it. My biggest thing, you guys, is please do not wait until Friday to get all of this done. Break up your time. Get your plan done today. Choose your topics, mining camps, mining towns, or mining towns versus supply towns. Choose your topics, one here, how are they similar? And then let it sit and come back tomorrow with your notes, the textbook, and start writing. And this too, okay? Please don't leave it for tomorrow. It is way too much to do in one day, and you want to budget your time really well. Again, you're going to share that with us through Google Docs. So type it in Google Docs. Make sure you share it with Mrs. Eberhardt if she's your primary teacher, or with me if I'm your primary teacher, and then you're good to go. Again, as always, if you're confused by this, if you can't access the resources or whatever it might be, please let us know. We are here to help you. We want you to be successful. We want to give you everything that you need to be able to do this well and feel proud about what you're doing. So reach out to us if you need anything at all. I think that covers it for today. That was a lot. So good luck. You guys have got this. This is a lot of information, and you're gonna wrap it up really, really nicely in this essay. I've also included a virtual field trip from a mine here in Colorado in case you wanted to check out what hard rock mining looked like and what the inside of a mine looked like. All right, you guys, have a great 2 days. No video from me on Friday. This video is for both days. I wanna leave you plenty of time to work on this project. Have a great rest of the week and a great weekend. See you next week.